Hey, I'm Joe Burnett on the Runner team, and I would like to show you my workspace setup, how I've been using Workspaces for the last 2 or 3 weeks exclusively. I shut down my old development environment and just have been using Workspaces. I want to show you Duo workflow running in that workspace and Duo Agentic chat too, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to give you a little demo. Last time I recorded this a couple like last week, I showed you um, a POC for giving steps as ad hoc tools and project-based tools to an agent um, in the environment, which is really powerful. But I forgot to show you the Duo workflow actually running. So that's I'm going to start with the good stuff here. Um, so first of all, let me show you around my workspace real quick here. So this is a project that I created just in a place under the GitLab organization because they give me the permission to do all the Duo stuff. They also have an agent registered to create my workspace. So this is actually a pod inside of a Kubernetes cluster with Sysbox that is connected back to GitLab through this agent. Okay, so if I was here and I click code and where you would usually click Web IDE here, you can get something similar by clicking on New Workspace, and you choose the agent and a dev file. So I'm going to show you. That's how I got to this spot here. I'm going to show you agentic chat. So there's a little sparkly Tanuki that I enabled over here with something sticking out of its head. And it looks just like the agent. Or sorry, it looks like it's just the regular chat, but it can do stuff. So in this project, I have like a README, which doesn't really have any contents in it. So I'm like, Joe's workspace. Well, let's see if my sparkly unicorn Tanuki can do something about this. Um, Hello. Please write a summary of this project in the README markdown file. Thank you. All right, so it's kind of a back and forth kind of a thing at the agentic chat, which I really like, because like you can that's sometimes you just kind of want to iterate on something really fast or just kind of poke something, get little pieces done, get a little bit of help, and it'll actually like do the work for you. So it's like a halfway between the chat GPT kind of chat thing that we're used to and this fully autonomous like thing that runs off and works on something for you for a while. That's more like Duo workflow. So it's going to write some stuff for me here. But in the meantime, let me show you Duo workflow. So here, now I can have these both running in the same project. It's fine. It's just like one machine and, it's just editing files. But if they're not going to run into each other, then it should be fine. So I have this, my previous demo of steps for agents is 00 steps here, and I wrote some Go code, but shockingly, I did not write tests for it. So I'm going to ask Duo Workflow to do it for it. So you can see I tried this before. I'm gonna try it again. Let's see what happens. I wrote some new Golang code in 00 steps package. Yeah, steps. Please create a new file named steps test go and add basic unit tests of the package. Thank you. Okay. Duo workflow really is really helps if you can give it specific like you know uh, detailed instructions. Be like, hey, I want you to work on this package. I want you to actually write the unit tests. Um, yeah, let's go back and take a look at this README. Oh, look at that. Now I have a whole bunch of summary in here. This is pretty great. It was like the best of chat plus an agent that'll actually just do the thing, which I love. This is super great. Thank you. I'll just say thanks. That's great. I think we should be nice to AI. Okay. Yeah. Now here's Duo workflow. Duo workflow is going to be a little bit more asynchronous. It's actually going to like write a plan that I get to approve. And I can even like provide more details and refine the plan. And then it kind of goes off and does its own thing. And this is kind of where I wish we had um, the ability to set invariants. I would like to be able to set invariants about what should be true before the task is considered complete. And I want to embody those invariants as some deterministic like process. Like, don't consider this job done until the code that you write compiles. Right? That's pretty basic stuff, right? If it's going to be an asynchronous thing, it's like I'm going to send you off. Just make sure what you write compiles. Um, I'd like to write some details. Um, Use your best judgment for which ones. Probably the ones with the highest line count are most important to test. You should mock external dependencies because these unit tests must be able to run offline. That's pretty straightforward, pretty standard stuff. Test coverage, anything above 50% is fine for a first try. Pretty low bar here. Let's just kind of see what it can come up with. So it's going to come up with a plan. Great. All right. In the meantime, I want to show you. So there's like this little demo part of like the AI features in this workspace. I want to show you how I got it working, because if you want to do this too, you're going to need to know about a workaround or two. Um, and I just kind of want to let you see what the experience is like using this. Workspaces are a little bit more ephemeral because they get stopped after like a day, which means they detach the disk and actually terminate the pod. You could start them again, and some of your stuff will still be there. Approve the plan? Yes. Ship it. All right, we'll see. We'll see what comes up with. But yeah, the workspaces are a little bit more ephemeral. So you have to kind of you kind of need your process to be a little bit more repeatable. So first of all, one thing that I did is I created my own Docker file, because there's a lot of stuff I needed, like HTOP. I want to know what you're doing, right? How hard are you working? JQ, YQ. I need Emacs just for comfort. That's where I came from. And sometimes I just need to open up Emacs so I can remember that I actually know how to program. And Net Tools, I use this just to find the LSP server, and which port it's listening on. JLS, great for inspecting big JSON files. Terraform, because I just love Terraform and I do a lot of Terraform. That's the other thing. I didn't mention this, but like, why use a workspace? Why I have a laptop? Why not just use a laptop? I use a lot of long running processes. Like sometimes I need like 3 hours to run a Terraform script to clean up like some end-to-end tests, right? But I have a laptop and I want to be able to close it. I want to be able to walk away. I'm moving from place to place all the time. I work very like non-linearly. So I can't rely on it. That's why I had that workspace. That's why I had a VM in the cloud first, like this one right here. This used to be my primary development machine. I'd SSH into it. Actually, it was Mosh. I would SSH in, start a Mosh server, so I'd get local echo like fast, and it would reconnect automatically. But SSH, if you don't know what that is. And I'd use Tmux as a window manager. So like where I'm using tabs for multiple views, you'll see that in a minute with the workspace. I was using Tmux for for windows, and then individual panes are just like, and then it was Emacs inside. It was just really baseline, lowest common denominator editing environment. So that thing's gone. And what I've done here is I've actually created just a really one-off Bastion server. This is a workaround. You shouldn't have to do this once they fix the port problem that I'm going to tell you about. Okay. Yeah. So I want a long running machine. And so it's actually possible, which is pretty rad. this is what it looks like to actually start a new workspace. So this projects folder here, this one's persistent. Okay, it's the root. You can see it's the root projects. And so I've checked out another project here called Step Runner. And so I kind of want to get a view into that project. So I can copy this URL and I can actually just change this. You could also just do it in the UI, but it'll replace the tab. So now I'm actually going to have a whole different set of history for Duo Workflow because it's a different project. It's going to be the same file system. On the left, of course, it's sort of narrowed into just this project, but it's like the same machine. The thing is, the little SSH tunnel workaround only works on a single tab as long as you keep it open. So let me show what this looks like. So if I say show Duo Workflow here, it's going to be sad, right? It's trying to talk to localhost. Well, there's an LSP server running on this machine that has like the web views for these, and the VS Code is actually trying to just loop back and talk to it, but it doesn't work. So I could just port tunnel to it. That's a one workaround. Unfortunately, that can't SSH yet directly to the workspace. So I make a server in the middle, do a reverse tunnel this way, tunnel from my laptop this way, and then it's connected. So let me show you what that looks like to set up, because if you want to use these AI features in workspaces right now, you need to use this workaround, which is in, of course, the project that I was showing you there. Okay, so first of all, find out what port that LSP is listening on. Now, if I do netstat, there's actually quite a few of them, right? Because I've had a couple of views. My little script, so if I my hacky tunnel script, it tries to find it for me automatically here, but I've got so many, it's going to get it wrong. So I'm just going to actually just find it myself. Inspect this iframe. I'm using Duo Workflow here. The nice thing is these two are trying to use the same port, right? They're trying to get to the same LSP server. So I turn on the network tab. You can't really get the network tab for this iframe until you load the iframe and fail. Then you just close it, open it again. And then you see this failed request trying to get to this port, right? 34767. It'll be different every time you open up a new Chrome tab, okay? So I say export port equals this, and then I can run my hacky tunnel script. I already set it up with my IP address and everything. So it's actually on my Bastion server now, reverse forwarding, and I conveniently told it what command to tell me to run on my laptop. So on my laptop off screen here, I just went forward. So now that thing is connected. So then you just got to go here and just close and open your workflow. If I close the whole tab, then the port's going to change. So you got to just change that little one. And over here, I need to got to kick the agent, or I shouldn't kick it. I should be nice. I should reboot it. So I'm just going to open up the GitLab workflow. I don't have a little X to open and close that one, but I can go here to settings and I can just turn it off and turn it back on again. And then when I come here, voila, I've got an agent, which is super great. So that's how you get to a state where a workspace is all wired up. And you get pretty fast at it. It's not that big of a deal. And this is just a workaround. We're gonna fix it so that it'll automatically set up another port. Like you can see, I've got this port here for the workspace. It's going to set up another one and redirect it to there. So this is just temporary. Let's go back and check friend Duo Workflow. How you doing? Please go away. It did it all the things. Look at that. Request further changes, so I can sort of reference the previous workflow and do more work. Just give me a summary. Now let's find out if it actually worked. Let's actually run these tests. This is where the rubber meets the road. So I'm going to go into double O steps, go test package. Oh, modules. Got to update my modules. I would tell I want to give it that tool. I'd be like, you can run Go Montidy anytime you want. This is a case where I'd write a little step, for this project called Tidy, and the agent could just use it. Tidy. You should have tidied up after yourself, but that's okay. You couldn't. And the tests don't compile. That's a bummer. And once we get them compiling, do they pass? And of course, do they test the right thing? That's a higher level concern. That's where I want to be. I want to be like asking, do these test the right things? I don't want this workflow to finish until the tests compile and pass. But that's okay. You know what? It wrote a bunch of tests for me, and I'm glad I don't have to write these myself. I'm sure it'd be faster for me to clean these up and fix them than it would be for me to write them myself. Wow, that's a lot of tests. Okay, thank you. All right. Yeah, that's kind of it. Oh, one last thing. Your workspace will stop from time to time, if you leave it, or if you're done for the day, you can just stop it, because it stops consuming, it always consumes disk in long-term storage space. And so it is efficient to stop it. Your projects directory will remain, but your home directory goes away. And I think they'll probably fix this in Workspaces too. But just to deal with that, I have a setup script here that I just run every time I jump into a stop workspace. I just run this one, and it just kind of wires in my personal config again, and I'm up and running. So yeah, a lot of this tooling, like for example, I wanted to base my Docker file always on the latest default dev file, right? So that like whatever they do for the defaults, I just want to like layer on top of that. So you'll notice that I have that my Docker file takes a base image here, and I'm getting it from this, which is the source code for the default dev file. So what I do is I had do a workflow, write me a little script to just go fetch that thing and pull it out with YQ, and then I use it as a base image. So for example, in order to get Agentic chat, I had to bump the version of the built-in Duo or the built-in GitLab workflow VS Code plugin, right? So all I did is I just terminated my workspace, boom, machine completely gone. And then I just ran the workflow to rebuild my Docker file, started up a new workspace, ran setup, started the tunnel, took me like 2 minutes, and then I was up and running with Agentic chat, which is super great. I'm really excited about this one. I love this guy. Okay. Yeah. And what else can I show you? This, like, oh my God, I love writing CI config by telling the agent to just write it for me. That's super helpful because CI config can be kind of painful. I work in CI, so I can say that. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show you right now. Oh, one last thing. I know there's always one last thing. I wanted to show you Emacs, because the whole cool thing is I went from like this like command line terminal environment directly into like a graphical user. I could retooled everything, which can be a little bit much. But I can still get like Emacs here, right? Like here I've just fired up Emacs in one of these terminals, and Emacs is already, my Emacs config is wired up to use an LSP server. So it's a totally different LSP server for Go. And I can follow links, I can do all the usual LSP stuff, get references, etc. right here in Emacs. So this is like the way that I'm used to working right here. So I can still do that. Like I don't have to completely relearn everything in order to access this. Hopefully, like do a workflow, do agentic chat, etc. Hopefully those will start being available in a more generic LSP form so that I can use them in Emacs, you can use them in VI, etc. But for now, Workspaces is pretty sweet. It's got a lot built in and it's super powerful. Yeah, it's made the retooling part really fast. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you soon.